With over 30 million records sold, Salman Ahmed and his band Junoon have become the largest selling South Asian rock group of all time. He's worked with the likes of Melissa Etheridge, Mick Jagger, and Led Zeppelin. Now he's using his music to work against conservative and extremist elements, groups that are trying to impose their ideology on the society and culture of Pakistan.
Pakistan is going through a transformation right now. There's great confusion because, as you know, there's a war in Afghanistan, there's terrorism, so it's politics, and at the same time you have the extremists whose sole agenda is political power.
Salman Ahmed, his story and thoughts on the future of Pakistan, in his own words. So Salman, I wanted to thank you for sitting down and speaking with us. It's a privilege to meet you. There's so much that we can talk about, your AIDS work in Pakistan, your work with the United Nations, the social work that you're doing, but the thing that I wanted to focus on is your music. So very briefly, explain to us, how does a young kid growing up in Pakistan get into rock music and become Junoon, the largest selling rock group of South Asia of all time?
Well, in a simple way, following my heart. Because I always, although from as a child, my parents wanted me to be a doctor, and music was something that in Pakistan was considered, not really noble. In middle school, I had a friend called Danny Spitz who had an extra ticket to a band called Led Zeppelin. I saw Jimmy Page on stage playing a two-headed guitar with dragons painted on his pants, and the first thing that came to my heart was, I want to do that for the rest of my life.
Let's talk a little bit about what's happening in Pakistan. So much is happening socially, politically. There seems to be a very conservative religious movement. Some people would call it extremist. And correct me if I'm wrong, trying to maybe impose their social vision of what Pakistan should be it from women's rights and to the arts and culture and music, which affects you personally.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that movement. Describe them in your terms, in your opinion.
Yeah.
Their motivation, their goals. What are they trying to do?
Yeah, well, look, on 9/11, Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda hijacked Islam and the word jihad. Now, jihad, as everybody knows who grows up in Muslim culture, is a positive word. It's a good word. It's about striving, it's about self-improvement, and there's various forms of jihad. It's not about flying planes into buildings. But the terrorists took that word away and then found themselves with a platform to speak on behalf of Islam, right? It's like the KKK speaking on behalf of Christianity. As a Muslim, I think Taliban, Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, it's offensive to my faith tradition.
Okay, so let's start there. When you say there's this distorted mission, this distorted image, or maybe a different interpretation, how does that come about, in your opinion?
Because somehow, somewhere in the last 500 years, Muslims stopped thinking. They said, you know what? We have the Quran. We are the perfect chosen people, and we don't need to learn anything. There's no science that we need to learn. We just have to sort of, bow down, and God will give us everything. Well, that's not how it happened.
Well, can't you say that maybe then these conservative groups, they are thinking about a world ideology, whether they want to impose it on Pakistan or beyond those borders, but they do have an ideology and they do support it with their religious beliefs. So how do you counter that if you're saying that there's other ways to interpret religion?
What they are using is our ignorance, right? They know that they can go to young kids and teach them, that Quran tells you to go kill innocent people, or Quran tells you to commit suicide. We feel that, these guys are with beards, must mean that they have all the answers, so we don't question them. And why don't we question them? Because we don't really know our own faith traditions. When I was confronted by people who wanted to kill me for playing music, I said, hold on, so I need to go read, educate myself. Be empowered, so at least that somebody comes and tells you that, you're not being a good Muslim or that's not Islam, you can at least have a conversation with them on that.
Salman Ahmed seeks out the mullahs behind these ideas. Muhammad Amir preaches in a mosque in central Peshawar. Salman finds him holding court in his pharmacy.
Why do 52 other Muslim countries allow music? Why don't they ban music?
Do those 52 countries have any idea about Islam?
You're saying that they're all non-believers, huh?
They're all sons of pigs.
Is that happening, though, more so in Pakistan, amongst youth and maybe the elite? Are they starting to come out and question what's happening, what the Taliban or some of the other conservative movements are sort of espousing and preaching? Are they starting to come out and question that?
Well, I'll give you an example.
Because we don't see it.
I'll give you an example. Earlier in the year, in April, the Taliban circulated a cell phone video of a 17-year-old girl from Swat being whipped. 50 men who were watching and 2 guys who were holding her down, 1 guy's whipping her. When people saw that on the TV screen 7-8 times a day, that's when the entire country shifted.
The video of the flogging has galvanized women's and civil society groups to protest against Talibanization.
So you know what? We don't want our daughters to be treated like that. We don't want our wives to be treated like that, no matter what the crime is. So Pakistan is going through a transformation right now. There's great confusion because, as you know, there's a war in Afghanistan. There's terrorism. So it's politics. And at the same time, you have the extremists whose sole agenda is political power.
Okay.
They're not interested in religion. They use religious terms. They have no clue what the Quran says.
But with that said, there's also a power structure in Pakistan from the military, some people say the ISI, Pakistan Secret Intelligence Service, that have supported conservative religious movements and allowed them to become as powerful as they have. So is that changing?
Well, look, as I write in my book, when I was 18 years old, I came back to Pakistan, which was a US ally, right? But who was the ally? General Muhammad Zia-ul-Haq. It was like having the Taliban in power. That was a military dictatorship dictating that you will follow this kind of Islam, okay? Which has no music, no gender equality, da-da-da-da. But as soon as General Zia's plane crashed, what happened? People voted for a 35-year-old woman to become the first Muslim leader in an Islamic country.
You had mentioned under the military dictatorship of General Zia-ul-Haq, things changed, Bhutto came into power. You still have religious elements that are vying for power, and they are making inroads. So are the right elements in Pakistan society challenging that?
So look, there's a struggle happening, searching for the identity of, what is the Pakistani identity in the 21st century? Is it Osama bin Laden or the Taliban? Or is it something else? I think that debate is happening right now, but 60% of Pakistan is under the age of 24. And I believe that's the real positive, potential positive for massive change happening in the country.
Okay. And I know you're part of that movement, so good luck with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.